women a lot of times use pregnancy as an excuse to eat what they want. And I get that because...
And you were there at times.
Oh, I am there. Like this week, I feel like I'm struggling the most this week because nothing sounds good. Welcome to Life Unleashed,
The podcast all about creating the best life for you and your furry best friend.
If you're a dog mom on the go, juggling life, work, and the endless joys of being a dog parent, then you're in the right place. I'm Dani.
And I'm Nick.
And together with the incredible dog mom community from Tails Up Pup, we're here to share advice, stories, and the obsession we have over the love for our dogs.
Get ready to laugh, learn, and lean on each other because life with your dog just got even more awesome.
We are nearing the end of this pregnancy, and who knows, by the time this goes live, there could be a baby here, there could not be.
This is literally like our final countdown. The thing that's the most shocking to me that I didn't really know, or I guess like it didn't sink in because it wasn't real for me, is how really starting around 37 weeks, 37 to just call it 41 and a half, that is a very like big range of time that could be very normal for your baby to come.
Yeah, baby could be coming right now. Literally today could have came, but it didn't. So
day is not over, Dani.
I know, but I feel like next week is more likely to start the preparation. So it is crazy. Do you feel like it's flown by?
I would say, yeah.
I feel like it's flown by. Ensley said she feels like I've been pregnant for years.
Yeah, I feel like it's flown by.
Yeah, so I figured we would get into some hot takes about pregnancy. I will just give one little disclaimer that I'm not trying to offend anyone. And I know everyone has a different experience. And this is just from my experience, some hot takes.
Dani's hot takes on pregnancy.
And I'm a little sassy, so.
and I'll chime in on some of these things and say like, is it truthful? Is it right? Has that been my experience? Has it been my experience like observing you?
Yeah. Okay, where should we start? Social interactions, I feel like, is a great place to start.
Your favorite thing in this world, social interactions.
The unsolicited advice from strangers and not strangers. It's crazy. People have so much to say. And like, even like I was walking down the aisle, like you always hear people say like you shouldn't assume someone's pregnant. Like people assume that I'm pregnant and like I clearly look pregnant, but like that person also didn't know what I looked like before. So like what if I just was round?
Most of the time someone that's pregnant, particularly late stage, has a very like looks like there's a baby in there.
Like this lady at the grocery store was like, I don't remember how she started, but basically like, when are you due? Like, how are you doing, mom? And I'm like at first I was like, oh my gosh, like, how does she know? But then I'm like, oh, of course. Like, I have a giant basketball in my stomach. But it's just crazy that like, I don't know, people have the guts to say something like that, like when they don't know you.
From my perspective, the social interaction part has been like extremely positive. I feel like you get so much like there are the occasional things of maybe the unsolicited advice, but I feel like more than anything, you get so much like bonding and things like that comes from it. Like whether other moms talking to you, whether it's like, do you know if it's a boy or a girl? And like, how many people have we met when we say, oh, we're not finding out, that turns into like an instant thing that they're like, oh my gosh, we didn't find out for one of ours either. And now you're like, have this special bond with them. And like, you literally they'll talk to you about that for like 5 minutes.
I feel like the social interactions with strangers is more fun and that you get more unsolicited advice from people that like you care about.
Yeah, the friends and family will give you a little bit more, I feel like, of the unsolicited advice. But the stranger stuff, I think it turns out to be like a conversation starter in a good way.
Yeah, and it is also funny. Like, I never realized it until like more people pointed it out. Like when it's your first kid, like you act so different than when it's your second or...
What do you mean by that?
Like people can just tell that it's my first because I'm just like so giddy and like, I don't know, excited to talk about it. Where like if someone's already been through this before, then they're like more used to it and they're just more casual, I feel like.
Oh yeah, it's like it's not new anymore. I've done this rodeo before.
Everyone always wants to know the gender and the name. The two things we don't know.
They also want to know like how you're doing, how you're feeling.
Oh yeah, how are you feeling is like the number one question ever.
People like literally strangers will be talking to you like, oh my gosh, are you doing okay?
What would they do if I said no, I'm bad?
Oh my gosh, I don't know what they say. Yeah.
I don't know. But I feel like the unsolicited advice or like the unnecessary comments, like the amount of people who have said you don't get a trophy for not getting an epidural, like could that not have stayed in their mouth?
Yeah, there's definitely the negative side of the stuff.
I can't even remember what that someone we know said, but it was something about my appearance. It's like
Your appearance, like
Yeah.
you've gotten larger.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm just like, some things probably just shouldn't be spoken out loud, but
You
it
do
is
get
what
a
it is.
ton of positive side though, like from the gym as well, like people being very impressed about what you're doing.
Yeah, the gym is my best place because everyone is so nice and they're always cheering me on. And I wish I could bring all of the gym people into the labor room because then I feel like I would conquer it all.
Oh my gosh, what if we get like one of the coaches on speed dial for if you're having a tough time? Bring Megan in, bring Sam or Whitney in.
I told Nick, I'm like, how could we get one of them in that room? Because I feel like you can do anything when they're coaching you.
They probably would be so honored.
They would be my doula.
Oh my gosh, that would be the first. Could you imagine a burn boot camp doula?
That would be
Epic.
very epic. I feel like I need that.
You would not like it.
Also, just like with social interactions, I feel like there's so many ways to parent and to even like rules or like things you should do and shouldn't do while you're pregnant or like while you're laboring or while you have a baby. It's just like there's so many ways to do things, and if you disagree with someone else, it's crazy. Even if it's like your parents or your sister or like someone really close to you, like there can be tension, and I don't like that.
The biggest one that I feel like I've heard the most is like, don't pick that up. It'll literally be like 1 pound thing. And like, I am totally agree.
Like while pregnant?
Yeah, I totally agree that like, you know, when you're pregnant, you got to be very careful about the weights and things that you're lifting. Listen to your doctor, all of that stuff. But your doctor, this is for Dani, has basically said as long as like you were doing it before, more or less you can continue to do it now and, you know, maybe progress down a little bit as you go, which you have been. But like your doctor has been very much like continue to work out as long as you can, and you are totally fine to be lifting things. If honestly, you should be doing that stuff if you had been doing it before.
Yeah.
And so it's so funny to hear like Dani trying to carry a paperclip and then people being like, don't carry that, you know, and it's just like, no, it's actually good for you to stay strong and mobile and those things. It's just I feel like that comes a lot from people that are like our parents' age more.
I also think, and this is
that a hot take?
This is where the hot take's coming in. Like a lot of girls will use pregnancy as a reason to be lazy. And
oh my gosh.
And
she said it, not me.
But I get it. And this is why I'm not trying to offend anyone. I know everyone's experience is different. We are exhausted.
That is the craziest hot take I've ever heard.
But we are exhausted. We are tired. We are growing a human. Like, do we want to work out? No. Like, do we want to sit on the couch and just watch TV? Yes. But it is good for you to move your bodies, and like just to use it as an excuse of I can't do that, or like it's more I don't want to do that. No, I can't do that.
I know there are people that are listening right now that are being like, Dani, you just have it easy. You don't know what it's like to have a bad pregnancy. People are thinking that.
They can think that. That everyone's entitled to their own thoughts. They don't know how I felt for the first. That's the thing. And it's also about working out. People are like, oh, you're lucky that you can work out. And if you are on bed rest or you are hurt or injured or anything, and if you didn't work out before, like all those things, you shouldn't be working out. But if you were me and you were used to it, even though I was throwing up and sick, I still made it a priority to go to the gym because I knew if I took those 20 weeks that I was nauseous off, then I wouldn't be able to do it now because I would have been back to square one. So I was
just kind of messing with you.
No, but I get it. Like that is some people's thought. And like, I do have it easier than other people, but I also have it worse than other people. So like everyone is at a different place. And I get that.
I think what you're saying is you have made it a very big priority, even when you're feeling like absolute death, particularly early on, to go ahead and to get to the gym, to do the things you wanted to do because that was a priority for you. And you're not trying to sit here and say that like, you know, you're bad if you didn't do that.
No,
that's not what you're saying.
For me, this was the best decision for me. And there were many times I almost threw up at the gym, but like you just kinda...
Or before the gym. I remember Danielle would be like...
I also think the thing that motivated me so much to stay active was knowing that I didn't want to get the epidural and that having a strong body and mind was really important for that. And so I would push through the days I didn't want to go because I knew in the long term I was going to need to do this.
It kind of, what you're saying about the, how did you say it? Some people use pregnancy as a excuse to be lazy. I feel like for me or guys out there, like obviously none of us have ever been pregnant, but if you ever had like a surgery or, things like that, or been sick, really sick or something, like say the flu, a lot of times I know I have, this is me, when I've had both of those things, the flu or had a surgery, sometimes I'll use that as an excuse for much longer than I need to rest to be lazy. Like, oh, I had the flu. Well, a month later, I'm still, watching movies and eating ice cream. It's like, dude, you're totally over your sickness. You probably should start getting back to some physical activity. Or like after surgery, it's like, you got surgery on your knee. You can work hard at the PT and you can be training some of your upper body stuff to stay in shape, but I would sometimes be like, maybe I'll be a little lazy right now.
I also think that social media is misleading because if you were to follow my page or like anything like that, you see that I went to the gym, that I worked, that I went and got my hair cut, and now I'm filming this podcast. But they didn't see that I took a nap for in between those things. I had like 17 snacks and like I had to fuel my body for that and I had to rest in between all these things. And so
and we go to bed like at 8:30.
And yeah, we don't already have a kid. I know if we had a toddler, like our situation would be very different. But this is our situation right now. We have the ability to go to bed early and I'm sleeping for 9 hours, sometimes 10 hours. And so, but there's lots of disruptions in there too. Like I also am not waking up feeling rested because a lot of the days I'm waking up at 4 a.m.
I think what I'm hearing is like the hot take is a little bit of like you are trying to do the best to control the things that you can control.
Yeah.
And there's the luck comes into it of like, you didn't get prescribed bed rest or you didn't have something go crazy with your pregnancy. That part you may have zero control over, but you're trying to say the things that I have control over, I've chosen to do the best that I can.
Well, I think like, yeah, the reason that my hot take came out of my mouth is like, because people are like, oh, like my back hurts. And I'm like, my back also hurts. Like, I also am feeling those pains, but I'm pushing through it for 45 minutes. Like
the other thing too that you do that is very impressive is like, your back will hurt and like you will do, a ton of research and spend, 30 minutes a day doing stuff to like, that's supposed to help alleviate some of that back pain.
Yeah.
And that's not just a one-time thing. You're doing that daily.
Yeah,
and so I think that has helped you.
And it really has helped me. It does help with the pain and then it helps long-term, I feel like.
And it probably helps to have a husband that will give you the massage and
yes.
look at that stuff too. I'm giving myself a little credit.
Yes.
It is literally the least I can do. I'm mostly kidding. Danielle's the hero here. I'm just helping when I can.
The other part of that hot take is that women a lot of times use pregnancy as an excuse to eat what they want. And I get that because...
And you were there at times.
Oh, I am there. Like this week, I feel like I'm struggling the most this week because nothing sounds good. And
except ice cream.
Yeah. But like for the first like 18 to 20 weeks when I was really nauseous, like I was in the situation where I wanted to eat because eating made me feel better. But I feel like even still, like, I guess I was eating like junk food like Doritos and Pop-Tarts and things that I don't normally eat. But like some girls will just go eat all the fast food and be like, oh, it's because I'm pregnant. And they'll literally say it that way. And I'm like, okay.
Or I have this craving. I have to have this every day.
And I do get it to an extent, but also I think you need to be mindful about what you're putting in your body and how that will make you feel. So yeah, you're going to feel bad the next day if all you did was eat McDonald's.
Whether you're pregnant or not.
Yeah.
Anyone.
So I think that all these things are like a domino effect. And I get it, but it's like moderation.
Well, and that's the thing. We have had a few little fights about like when Danny bought Pop-Tarts, I'm like, is that a one-time thing, or are you going to be eating Pop-Tarts for your breakfast every day? Because
and the
you'll
audacity that he had to talk to me about buying my Pop-Tarts, but I did not do it again. Yeah.
And it was me not telling you that you couldn't do that. I feel like sometimes you need some support. Because, I mean, honestly, I'd like to eat a chocolate Pop-Tart every morning instead of eggs too. But you have the strength and you're fueling your body for success. And that's been helping you, even though it's hard sometimes.
Yeah. And when I do eat the fast food, I enjoy it in that moment. And then I don't feel as great the next day.
That's true. I feel like that's everybody.
Yeah. So I just think moderation is key. That's my hot take. Here are some things that people say that we can react to, I guess. Like, you're eating for two. And then we've learned in our journey that is not necessarily true. Like, yes, I'm eating for two because there's literally a second human in my body. But you're not actually supposed to eat double the calories, and the amount of calories and how long. Like, you're not supposed to be eating more in the beginning. It was like, I felt like near 30 weeks that they were like, you should be having 400 calories more. I'm like, that's literally like one thing.
But you were starving.
I was starving.
I think you need to listen to your body about that, but I think it more is the whole eating for two. It's like, oh, well, then that means I need to be having extra servings of ice cream or double cheeseburgers all the time.
Yes.
And it's like
double cheeseburger and 4 scoops of ice cream, please.
With a milkshake to wash it all down.
But for me, I was so hungry, and I felt like if I feel hungry, then I need to eat. So,
and it was helping with your nausea. When you would eat, you felt a little better.
The typical weight gain that they say that you're supposed to gain is 30 pounds. Like, I've already gained almost twice that, and I'm not at the end yet.
But you're much taller than the average person.
Well, everyone's body's different. But even so, like, all that to say is that part was really getting me down. But Nick told me, and I've also heard other people say this, that your body does what it needs to do. If you feel hungry, you should eat. Like, you're definitely don't starve yourself because the scale says that you should be one thing and not the other.
Yeah,
like,
that's the last thing a growing baby needs is to be starved. Particularly if you take the mindset of like, I'm going to try to eat, healthy foods and things like that. Eat as much as you feel like you really need to eat because your body and that baby needs the fuel. You're growing a human. You got to.
In the beginning, I ate way more before I even was showing a baby, which was interesting. And
the doctor was like, your appetite shouldn't have increased too much. And you're like, I'm starving.
I was eating a lot more. But then as I progressed and I actually had a baby bump, I was eating not as big of meals, but I was eating more frequently.
Like every 2 hours you'd eat dinner and then it'd be like, okay, second dinner and then dessert.
Yeah. It's kind of even weaned off. Like, now I'm not dying for something after dinner like I was at one point.
But this is again a really good habit that you've come up with. Like, rather than eating an ice cream every single night, you're having you're always eating a yogurt with some berries.
Yeah.
A Greek
the
yogurt
Greek
with berries.
Yogurt, it tastes really good and it keeps me full. If I eat dinner and I don't eat anything else, I always wake up in the night hungry. So I've learned that if I just eat the Greek yogurt at 8 o'clock, then I will be able to sleep better, which is interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense too because you're getting that protein, all the stuff.
Okay, here's the other thing that people say. This is kind of the debunking thing. Morning sickness only happens in the morning. Not for me.
And what about morning sickness only happens first trimester?
Yeah, not.
It lasted halfway, not quite halfway, but through a significant amount of your second trimester.
And even still, sometimes I get nauseous now.
Yeah, you've almost thrown up a few times recently.
Yeah, but
that was random, and rarely was it in the morning.
The morning sickness that was literally all day for me. Literally all day. I would even gag at the most random things. I would just be walking in the office and I would randomly have to gag, and it would sound fake. But that was my life for a while.
Okay, a hot take or a smells and taste being heightened.
Oh yeah.
Very true, right?
Very true. Mostly the smell for me.
If you fart around Dani, she will know.
And the dog food smells so bad to me.
That's when you threw up your first time feeding the dogs.
And right now I still have to plug my nose. It smells so bad.
Good thing you didn't smell the porta potty at that hike this weekend. I almost threw up from that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, there's some things that really smell bad to me.
Yeah.
Nothing ever smells that great. It's usually something that smells bad. The last thing I had was pregnancy glow, and I unfortunately did not experience that.
Are you kidding me, Dani? I literally tell you you're glowing all the time.
Yeah.
I really feel that to be true.
You do say that, but I don't see it.
Well, sometimes you can't see your own beauty in the
Aww.
mirror. I feel like other people have said that you're glowing too.
Yeah, I'm not.
Danielle, enough.
This is a different take, but the swelling, that's crazy.
Yes, and
Look at
that
my ankle.
you experienced that the most when we traveled.
Yeah, traveling really made me swell up. And I know I've talked about this a lot, but like my carpal tunnel has been my worst pregnancy symptom other than the morning sickness stuff. And so like it's gotten even worse. It's so painful, and it also has made my fingers swell. I can't even wear my silicone wedding band anymore.
I got a hot take.
What?
That for you, I think. Being pregnant in the summer is going to be the worst ever.
Everyone told me how awful it was going to be, but honestly, I would much rather be hot than cold. So, and I also just don't sit outside because I want to hate my life. So, like, I'm inside. Like, it's air conditioned. It's fine. But, like, today I went and saw someone and we talked outside and, like, I was getting hot. I was sweating.
But you've been doing remarkably well, I feel like, with the heat. And it seems like that you've had better clothing options with the being hot.
Yeah, I could not imagine like wearing pants. I hate pants, especially like right now, like something tight on my stomach. I would hate that. I like the biker shorts, but like if I was wearing jeans or something, So I told Nick, yeah, I would choose to be pregnant in the summer again.
That was a super common thing that like everyone said, when's your baby due? August. Oh my gosh, it's going to be, those last 3 months are going to be the worst.
Someone said it yesterday at the gym. They were like, isn't this awful? Because she was pregnant at this time.
Oh.
20 something years ago. But I'm like, oh yeah, like it's fine. You know, I just stay inside or go in the pool. I don't know.
And you enjoy being warm, I think.
Yeah, I like the summer.
What other hot takes do you have on there?
Oh, well, didn't we talk about this one time? But I guess I can say it again.
Well, what is it?
Like, oh my gosh, I could never not know the gender because I'm a planner. And it's like, someone literally said that to me yesterday. And I'm like, there is nothing you need. Like, it's literally fine.
You literally get two responses when someone asks, you know, like what it's going to be. You either get, oh my gosh, we didn't find out either. Bonding moment. You guys talk about that. Or, oh my gosh, I could never. I'm such a planner. Those are literally the only two responses you get.
Like,
am I right in saying that?
Well, yeah. Sometimes the planner thing does lead into, but like that's really cool and like exciting.
Yeah, I think people think it's cool, but they're always followed up in some way or preceded by I could never.
Yeah, I could never.
Because I'm a planner.
Yep.
That's what people say.
But I'm like, I'm obviously a planner. Like my nursery has been done. Like I made all these meals and then like we still have weeks left. Like I'm planned out everything.
To the extreme.
And we just don't know the gender. And that's that.
Yeah, I feel like the whole planning for that, it doesn't stop you from doing a lot of the major stuff. Hopefully you didn't get the whole pregnant world angry at you.
Yeah. Sorry.
The whole pregnant, everyone in the world that is pregnant.
I do truly understand that everyone's situation is different and that my back hurts and Barbara's back might hurt and hers might be way like worse because everyone's pain tolerance is different. Everything is different. So I get that.
And you definitely hear that from people that have had more than one kid. Oh, you know, their perspective changes. Like, oh, I thought my first pregnancy was hard, but then I had my second one. Then I was like, oh, that's bad. You know, so that people, you can see that from people that have had more than one pregnancy. Some's like, oh, I thought it was bad, but then it wasn't because my second one was real bad.
My last hot take, I got it. The just waits. I'm like.
The what?
The people who are like, just wait until blah, blah, blah. Or like if you ask me, like if you were like, how are you doing? And I'm like, oh, I'm doing great. And they're like, well, just wait. And
yeah.
I'm like, okay.
It's like, it seems like they're excited for you to like experience pain.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I also feel like that happens so much. Have you ever seen those videos where it talks about like, you know, everyone's so nice and happy when you're pregnant and then the baby comes and they're like, mwahaha, you've made the worst decision ever. Get ready for no sleep. Yeah. You're going to die. Like that seems to be, you hear that a lot.
Yeah. And I just think you didn't need to say that.
Well, sometimes, I don't know why, maybe it's the tone, but it does come across of like, are you wanting me to be?
Well, like, now, like, yeah, are you wanting me to be in pain? Are you wanting me to suffer because you did? And then, like, now I'm going through this, like, okay, like, how bad is it going to get? Like, or when is that going to happen, you know?
Yeah, it brings on unnecessary anxiety, particularly to do with, like, the pregnancy and things like that. And that's similar to, the whole epidural thing. It's like, oh, you just wait. It's just like, clearly, one, I haven't made that decision likely. You're not coming in saying that, like, having an epidural is bad. You're just saying that, like, for your situation is not something that you are choosing to do, right out the gate. And so that people make it seem like that you're saying that having one's bad. And you never say that.
No.
But they say it opposite to you,
Yeah.
like that you're not getting an award for it. And it's just like, I know I'm not getting an award. You don't have to be rude about it.
Yeah. But I think we've learned a lot, and we know everyone's situation is different, and even our situation will be different now versus the next time. And I'm grateful. I always say that when people are like, how are you doing? I'm like, I'm so grateful that I'm not in excruciating pain, or that I'm not on bed rest, or that I didn't have to go and get a C-section at 36 weeks. Like, all those things, like, I'm grateful for my experience. I know that I am a lucky one to have mostly the bad things aren't as bad as they could be.
And I feel like we've had a very great support group, and even the strangers, like, almost all of it has been mostly positive.
Yeah.
I would say very much positive from most people, and like is a really fun thing that, like, no matter if it's a grandma at the grocery store or somebody like your own age, like every person, even other people's kids, like from little kids all the way up to are the elders in our society, they really seem to bond over the pregnancy, and they may not even know you, which is like just it shows that it's such a cool, like, human thing.
And that's actually something that I learned about myself early on. I was like, it is truly something that you do not understand until you experience it yourself. Like, I just you can't fully comprehend what someone is going through or how it feels until you've been in it yourself. And like, now I'll always treat someone who's pregnant differently than I did before.
That's got to be a hot take. I'm sure there's people out there that must be like, oh, what do they have to complain about? It's not so bad. But you're saying that, like, hot take, like, unless you've been there, you don't know.
Yeah.
I think anyone that's been pregnant would probably agree with that.
Yeah.
Did you find yourself on the other side of that ever? Like, that you thought you knew?
Yeah. I think you're just like, okay, like, they're growing a human. Like, you hear about pregnancy. You just, like, kind of think that
One thing that seemed to hit you the most, and like the craziest thing that you probably didn't expect, was like how tired, and because Danielle is like the Energizer Bunny. She never stops and never has to, sit down for anything. But like, pregnancy, I think, changed that.
Yeah. And even today, you were like, are you okay? And I'm resting. Like,
well,
I literally had to sit down and close my eyes.
And sometimes now I have to tell Danielle, like, you're done. You need to take a break. Go sit down for an hour.
Because if I don't, then I feel so bad.
Yeah, you overdid it this weekend, and like, you for half the day on Sunday were on the couch.
I literally couldn't do anything on Sunday. I was so tired.
Yeah.
I've never been so tired in my life. Growing a human is exhausting.
Well, this was a very fun. Hopefully, you didn't piss anybody off too much. I think they understand that it was all coming from a fun, good-hearted place.
And everyone's situation is different.
This is true.
This is just from my experience.
I love these hot takes.
Yeah. If you are going through this, we are praying for you. We know it's not easy, and there's so many unknowns. So just keep pushing through. Drink your water, stay hydrated, and stay inside in the air conditioning, and rest.
Take those naps. Take the breaks.
Thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.